queuing around the block for that, weren't you?
Yeah. Morning, everybody. It's 2nd of December. We are Signal Centre Talking Bull. I'm Joe Neighbour and I'm joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, mate. All right.
Yeah, good, thank you. No Ian today. He is having a couple of days off. I believe he's chucking himself out of a plane tomorrow, so probably preparing himself for that today. Morning if you're watching, Ian.
Morning, Ian.
So big news out this morning. Listening to the radio and I got an interruption midway through the show to say that the vaccine in the UK is going to start being rolled out next week, so we can all start going back to normal soon. The Pfizer vaccine, which is 95% effective, will begin its rollout next week, and we'll start receiving those vaccines. Obviously, the priority will go to the most vulnerable. But that's all really encouraging stuff. So let's hope this is the beginning of better things to come. I was going to say, that's not the right way, not the right phrase, is it? At all?
That's normally what you say, the beginning of the end, but it doesn't feel like we should be saying that.
No. Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Aside from that, we do have Brexit negotiations going on, which obviously we're all incredibly bored about, but it looks as though we're going to try and get another deal done by, well, a deal done by this week, which we've been saying for forever, it feels like. The talks are intensive and they're round the clock and apparently making progress. Obviously, the disagreements remain in place with regards to fisheries and about levelling the playing field for businesses. So we'll wait and see what comes from that. In the US, obviously talks are ongoing there about trying to pass this additional coronavirus relief package, which House Speaker Nancy Pelosi presented a fresh Democratic proposal to the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. So they're trying to get that sorted over there. So yeah, a few bits and pieces going on in the news. And what's that doing for markets? I haven't really had much of a chance to have a look this morning.
Without Ian,
signals.
We haven't had a chance to breathe this morning. But yeah, I think we've sort of like I'll start off with commodities for a bit of a change, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah, you share my
screen. Take it away.
Yeah, obviously we got. What am I looking at? I'm looking at gold to start with. Obviously, we've talked about this 50%, the reaction from the 50% Fibonacci retracement from the 16th of March low to the 3rd of August weekly high, and we came down, we smacked the 50% retracement full on in the face and reacted lovely. Nice, lovely reaction higher. And we spoke about this yesterday on Talking Bull. It was looking like it was going to form a morning star formation on the daily chart, and it did. And it finished really strongly as well, around about 18.15 it closed yesterday. This morning had a small dip down to, where was the low this morning? It doesn't really tell me where the low is this morning. Why does it not tell me? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. 18.07.5, the low this morning. And then we reacted really strongly higher in the last 30 minutes, really. I think on the intraday trade, we're looking to buy a break of gold. We're actually looking to sell a rally in silver, but that doesn't look too clever at the moment. But we're, looking to buy a break of around about 18.22, I think, in gold. And that's been triggered and looking pretty nice at the moment. So let's take it to the hourly chart and see if there's any short-term formations that we should be looking at. And you can see this 18.17 resistance has been broken really nicely in the last hour, and there's good strong momentum. For me, the 1850s the next real line of resistance that we should be paying attention to. That was the support going back weeks and weeks and weeks, which we were talking about, and that's where we broke down to. So I'm thinking 1840 to 1842 to 1850 is where the bulls are looking to target. So that's nice, really nice start this morning. Copper continues to go higher and higher, and that shows no sign of slowing down. We have got some decent bearish divergence. This is where the price moves higher, but the momentum is slowing. So, but it's very difficult to argue with. We've broken through the 332 level, and it's pushed nicely higher. The next resistance on this chart, it's not a great chart really, it only goes back to 2011. It's not really good enough. We'll have to try and pick another chart. Copper's not a great one to get these live feeds into. So, but 379, 380 level, and we're trading around about 348. 350 will be a natural psychological level, $3.50. But yeah, it's no sign of that slowing down. That's obviously copper is one of the biggest conductors used in manufacturing. So China shipping it in over there. Have a quick look at oil on the weekly chart. On oil, obviously we've broken the resistance levels in on the weekly chart, 43.76. Again, higher than that. So everything seems to be pretty rosy in terms of these commodities, which are reacting nicely to the hopes of the vaccine arriving earlier and the market recovering quicker. I think that there's a long way to play out. We're in December. Markets normally have an end of year squeeze higher. I expect to see that again this year. There's no reason why not. But I am overall, I'm sort of a little bit concerned about the long-term effects of what's gone on this year, and
Absolutely.
that will impact next year. Don't know if you want to cover indices, or I'll jump in there as well.
Yeah,
Joe?
Chippy, to do the indices, so I'm going to just do a sort of broad look at FX in a second.
Okay. So indices, my God, trade idea. I was really disappointed with yesterday in the Dow Jones. I can't see where the buy level was, but I was looking to buy it anyway, hoping for a push higher. Got a bit of a push higher, but it didn't last long enough to, I don't know if it made a win or not. Joe will tell us in a second. But I was buying Dow and selling NASDAQ based on what the previous day's candles were. And but that had a complete reversal yesterday, so that was a complete waste of time, that trade for me. NASDAQ recovered nicely, and as we can see on the weekly chart, is challenging the all-time highs. It looks like it made an all-time high, 12,513. So, but let's see what happens here. A break above there and a close above there this week will be very bullish. We've still got a few days to go, so we'll be watching that from our desks and thinking, as I said, I'm always a little bit bearish, but it doesn't look to be anything holding this NASDAQ back, especially if it breaks above here. Even on a daily level, if we get a close above the 12,466, which we are trading just below there now, then that will be very bullish indeed. Same with the S&Ps. The previous swing high on the 9th of November at 3,674. We've poked above it, 3,679, and we're just trading just below it at the moment. So that the Dow seems to be the only one that's struggled. We've obviously got this huge psychological level around about 30,000, and the reaction lower overnight, we're down to 29,700. Support coming in here on around about the 29,500 level and below. So would probably potentially look to buy dips in the Dow. And if you're long of NASDAQ and S&P, just stick with it for the short term, definitely. China was the only other one that really was had me interested, because that seems to be recording some fantastic new highs in there as well. So yeah, that's about, I could scan quickly the Ftse. That's still sitting below the 6,515 level. DAX, again, pushed up towards the 13,462. That's this week. Let's see what it's done today. It's negative today, but it's really close to these key resistance levels, and CAC as well. So maybe the Brexit issues causing a little bit of slow reaction in these European markets.
Yep, lovely. Okay, Steve, thank you very much for that. Obviously, in the absence of Ian, who's normally our FX guru, I'm going to have a quick look at some of the FX charts. I thought I'd go through some of the baskets so we can take a sort of broader look at some of these currencies rather than going into minute detail on all the pairs that we cover. So what I've got here, first up, is the dollar basket. This is an equal weighted basket, so it's very similar to the dollar index, but to give you a flavour for what the US dollar is doing. And as we know, it has been trending lower. This is a daily chart, and we can see the severity of the downtrend, which has pretty much been in place since we saw the lows in the stock markets back in March, and it's continuing to drag lower. If we take a quick look at the dollar index basket, if you can see, it's fairly similar. We're making new lows on that on a daily basis today, although I did look at it from an intraday perspective, and you could see that there were some potential signs of a short-term reversal on that. But certainly the overall trend remains very bearish. This is a chart of an equal weighted basket of euro currencies. As you can see with this, fairly sort of choppy price action over the last couple of months or so. Arguably, we are forming maybe a bit of a channel here which could break to the upside, or a wedge. So I think the bias still remains to the upside with euro for now. Sterling seemed to be most under pressure this morning when I had a quick flick through the individual currency pairs that we follow. Certainly the worst performing out of the baskets that I've got here on my screen. As you can see quite clearly, sterling is in a downtrend versus all the rest of the major currencies. We are approaching some key resistance around here. Very much that is visible in cable. Let's just have a quick look at that just to show you. So this is the daily chart, and as we can see, this big level here is forming at around about 135.15, which if it does break above, then we could see a much stronger recovery in sterling. Arguably, you could say that's an inverse head and shoulders, maybe.
Yeah.
If you squint. So, a lot of fresh air above here if we can break out above those levels. And I would imagine that's going to be all down to what happens with the Brexit deal, which hopefully we'll get some sort of clarity on in the coming days. So keep an eye on that level. If people like what they see with regards to the Brexit deal, there's an element of relief there for actually getting the deal done, then that could be really positive for sterling. And obviously with the weakness that we've got in US dollar at the moment, we could see a fairly explosive move to the upside here, as it's been trapped below this level for a considerable period of time. Back to the baskets. This is a yen basket. Not really much going on here. Very sideways. Overall trend continues to be lower. Looking at it on the daily chart, continuing to see weakness there. On the Aussie side of things, that's been obviously in demand as people have been approaching markets with a riskier point of view, and therefore looking to buy currencies like this, although it has been stalling in recent weeks. So keep an eye on that. I'm not really sure the upside offers too much value here, but it seems to be stuck in the middle of a bit of a range for me. So I'd be a bit cautious on anything Aussie related, and fairly similar with New Zealand dollar, although that is breaking to the upside. So that looks more positive than what Aussie does at the moment. Pretty much it from me on the currency front. As I said, normally it's Ian's arena, but I think it looks to be more of the same with these currencies today. So onto the head stuff from yesterday. As Steve mentioned, he had a trade on the Dow. It was looking pretty good at one point, but it failed to hold on to those gains and chopped around. But we did get a nice win yesterday on Euro Sterling, 3.87. So that's the biggest win we've had in a while. So overall, we made money despite two trades being losers. The risk reward on that one was enough to mean that we put in a positive day, which we need. Hopefully that's the start of an uptick there, and we start producing some decent winners. Steve, have you got anything ready for us on the gun to the head? Because I still need to have a flick through some charts.
Yeah, well, I'm just quite interested in this Euro Sterling, really. I was long of it on the gun to head a few days ago, and got caught with this sell-off here. But obviously it's reacted again from this 88.65, and it's formed a double bottom here by a break of the 90 level, and it's pushed higher. But I'm a little bit with you. I think we've got potential to move higher, but I think we'll find resistance around this 50% retracement, and this is potentially where sterling and euro are sort of like working out the issues. So I think we've got a potential for a little move higher this morning. Is it enough to get a trade? Let's have a look. Here's a 4-hour chart. This is here's the trade I did the other day, obviously, which you can see got stopped out and wasn't far off target. So I don't know whether to fade this one based on your potential sterling uptick. I'm going to go with that. Let me do you know the way you were talking about sterling, obviously potential for the reverse head and shoulders. So yeah. I'll sell euro, sell into this strength, sell euro, buy sterling at 90.29. I'll have the stop at I'll have quite a tight stop in it, 90.59. And I'll look for a reversal with a 3-to-1 to 89.39 on that. So there I am.
Fantastic. All right, I found one. You did just enough there, Steve. Give me enough time to find one. Thank you.
I could have done a little dance or a little song to sort of distract everyone, but I'll let you crack on.
Thank you. Right, so I have found a trade in euro New Zealand dollar. So talked about euro looking quite positive. We also talked about New Zealand dollar being quite positive, but it did potentially look a little bit overstretched on that. So what I've got here is just trying to add some more weight to this, but yeah, there it is. Okay, so daily chart, euro New Zealand dollar. From this sort of huge move here that we saw, we've seen a retracement down to the 88.6% fib level, so pretty much reversed this entire move. And what we posted yesterday was a decent looking bullish candle, or Marubuzu candle, that formed on the daily chart, and we closed above the 10 period moving average for the first time since the 23rd of October. So for me, that could signal that we are about to see a shift in momentum or a corrective move higher in the very short term. Also, if we can draw a nice trend line there and see the break. So looking at on the hourly chart, what I've got here is, or just sort of by eyeballing it this morning, potentially a bit of a bottom pattern taking shape here, sort of rounding off a little bit. And if we look at even further in, we can see a break above this resistance here from 30th of November. And what we've seen over the last few hours is a pullback. And then we posted a bullish engulfing candle here. So I'm thinking we could see a continuation higher on this over the coming hours. Therefore, I'm going to buy it at 170.70. I'm going to place a stop loss just there. Let's go 25 ticks. 70.45. And I'm going to target a move. Where am I going to target a move to? There.
Yeah, why not?
71.36. I mean, I think that's potentially got the legs to go even a bit further than that, but let's just extend that actually. See if that gives us anything better. Just a little bit higher. 71.45. 3-to-1.
Lovely.
That'll do. Right, I'm going to get on that myself as well.
Yeah,
lovely.
I've just sold a euro sterling just on the back of that.
Lovely. Okay. News-wise today, we've got German CPI at 1 o'clock. We've got Chicago PMI at 2:45. We've got US pending home sales at 3 o'clock, and then we've got Japanese unemployment rate at 11:30 this evening. So there is a few bits to keep an eye out for. We have had a number of speakers as well. That seems to have been a bit of a theme over recent weeks. I haven't got a calendar to hand at the moment, but I'm sure there's probably a few more today. Steve, you got your live squawk open?
Yeah, I've got it open now.
Anything on the calendar?
Speakers today, we've got, it's not showing me the speakers today. Why is that? Oh, no, it's because it's later on, yeah. Fed's chairs, Federal Chairman Powell speaking at 3 o'clock, is that right? The Fed's Williams speaking at 3 o'clock also. Press conference following the video conference of the EU ministers at 3 o'clock. Williams also speaking at 6. Bank of England's Haskell at 6, and that looks like all I've got for today.
Okay, excellent. Okay, in which case then let's wrap it up, shall we?
Yep, lovely.
Fantastic. Have a great day, everybody, and we will be back tomorrow morning.
Cheers.
Cheers, Em.